Good day, everybody, and welcome to episode 34 of my YouTube video series on real estate investment. And today we're going to talk about what's up with the Singapore private residential property market in 2023. My name is Ryan Khoo, and let me start with an introduction of myself.
Director of Alpha Marketing,
Ryan speaking is Ghana, Malaysia. So my name is Ryan. Nama saya Ryan, saya Malaysia.
6,000 incoming supply in Johor. This is
I am writing a thank you for attending today's presentation on Ghana, Malaysia.
So my name is Ryan Khoo, and I'm a Malaysian. I'm a Singapore PR. I've been in Singapore for many years, since 2009. I'm half Singaporean. I'm a property investor. First, I'm also a property agent in Singapore as well in Malaysia. I'm well known. I've done a lot of property investments. I'm well known for Iskandar Malaysia. I talk about Iskandar Malaysia quite a fair bit. Recently, I talked a lot about Singapore because the Singapore market is pretty hot right now. There's a lot of interest. And I used to write for H Singapore, H Prop, iProperty Guru, and various property related media publications. So where I contribute my 2 cents about real estate investment. And you'll see me quite at the forums, pre-COVID, of course, where we talk about real estate and real estate investing in general. So today, we're going to talk about the Singapore property market and how we're going to enter 2023. Some useful information, I guess, that lots of people might find interesting. We just got into the possession of this set of slides from ERA, and I thought they were very well done. And so here I am to share these slides with you today. And of course, do take note that the disclaimer here, as per the slides, and any information has to be used at your own risk. Okay, so the Singapore property market for last year, 2022, entering this year, 2023, the year of the water rapid, is two things, which is price growth and strong demand. We have seen prices gone up quite a fair bit. I think everybody knows that. Your auntie in the market selling vegetable and the taxi driver that send you to work also can tell you this, right? Everybody knows this is happening. Prices have been strong, but so have been the demand for property in Singapore. And if you look at it, Singapore price index went up by 8.4% last year. Now, 8.4% is a lot, yeah. I mean, in case you don't see the thing, right? 8.4% is a big jump, right? If your property jump 8.4% every year, wow, you fat out already, as a property owner, right? And so this is quite a fair bit. I'm sure the Singapore government look at this number and don't really like it. 8.4%. There's every intention by the Singapore government to try and moderate this. So will there be cooling measures? We don't know. They might be. I'm sure the government always is thinking about it. But because 8.4% is a lot, right? And I think one way the Singapore government is going to control is to throw a lot of supply at the market this year. So you saw the November 2022 HDB BTO, new BTO. There's quite a lot of BTO released last year. So government's trying to bring down prices through that. The other trend you can see is, of course, the 158% absorption. What does it mean? 158% means for every 100 unit that developer build, got 158 buyers. Okay, I repeat. So for every 100 unit the developer build, there's 158 buyers. Right? How does that make sense? You can build 100, then how the buyer buy 158? Means the old stock also getting cleared. Anything from 2021, 2020, right? The balance unsold stock from that period also sold, right? Because we are using on a year basis. That means 158% means whatever that was launched this year, effectively all the developers sold out, effectively from a statistical perspective, right? But basically 158% also means that even old stock from previous years, 2021, 2020 is selling. So demand is very strong. Okay, so let's look at strong price growth first. So if you look at the price index, this blue bar here, right, they have moved up quite a fair bit in the recent years, right? 2022, 2021, you can see this yellow color box basically shows the amount of change, right, there has been. In fact, we have now surpassed the previous high of 2013. The last time the property price index was this high was in 2013. So now it has gone and surpassed the 2013 high, right? And if you look across the board, across this period from 2019 to 2022, right, overall property prices have jumped so-called 21%, if you use it from index perspective. 2019, which is the before COVID, right? Just before COVID, until recently, right? 2022, property price jumped a total of 20%. That means around over 3 years, it jumped roughly 7% on average a year. A lot, a lot. I think in very, I can give you some background about this, right? In very optimistic projections, we use 5% a year. It's considered optimistic already. I mean, typically, if you want to play safe, we use inflation rate, which is around 3% or 4%, right? For property price appreciation. But for this, we are seeing a 7% increase a year. So it's a lot, a big jump in the past 3 years. 2020, 2021, 2022. Okay, and demand outpacing supply, the strong demand. So just now we said 158%, right? If you look at this, my mouse here. So basically means the take up, okay, buyers are buying more than what developer is launching. I repeat, buyers are buying more than what developers launching. So in 2022, it was 158% up to 3 quarters, okay, up to Q3 last year. For 2021, it was 124%. So same like last year. Even 2021, the buyers more than the launches. More units are sold than what was launched, right? And 2020, the COVID year, right, surprising 92%. So that means there's a lot of the old stock, stuff that last time cannot sell, 2018, 2017, now can sell already. Okay, because now they look cheap in comparison, so people buy. Okay. So in many ways, this has defied expectation, right? I think many of us 2 years ago didn't quite expect this to happen, right? And one reason, I think there's a timeline here in this slide that shows it. In 2015 to 2017, the Singapore government through URA tried to reduce land supply because they thought with ABSD, the demand should drop. So in order to not let prices drop, Singapore government also reduced the supply. And then in 2018, because supply was less and then too many developers fight for prices in a way that create price benchmark or didn't let the price drop too much. And there was also an en bloc thing. En bloc, there's a lot en bloc happening in 2018, 2019. Developers buy en bloc sales. This throws in more supply in the market. And then again, URA, since there's so much en bloc, government also reduces number of sales again, land sales again. And when the pandemic hit, URA even cut supply again. So actually, you can say that from 2015 onwards to 2022, Singapore government actually have not been releasing that much land as they could. For all the reasons stated here, right? ABSD, competition from en bloc sales. So Singapore government didn't release as much land as they should. And maybe that results in a pent-up demand that happened up during the COVID period, which is why prices are so high. So if you look at it, right, this is the GLS, right, government land sales, right. So you can look at from the 2019 to 2021 period, right, the number is fairly low, right, 2,000 or below, right, 2,000 or below units given out by the government for through land sales, right, and didn't really go up again until 2022. Okay, where government released more land, hence more units available for sale. And in fact, if you look at 2018 below, right, this was normally in the trending in the 2000, higher than 2000, right? But during COVID period, government really kept it pretty low. So supply is low, right, or controlled by the Singapore government, which is why prices are still quite high. And yeah, so Singapore government have been trying to control prices. These are some of the news articles that mention it, right? But demand has been pretty strong, right? So this is the take-up rate. So this, you can see this chart, right? Launched in the year versus how many was sold. So launch, that means launched by developers during the year, first launch. So you can see take-up rate very high, in Singapore, right? It essentially, whatever the developer sell, buyer will buy, right? So whatever developer sell, buyer buy. So the developer not scared to buy land, right? Because as a property developer, if people buy your product, you will continue selling. You continue trying to get land. If you sell out, you continue to try to get land to sell some more, right? Because people buy, right? There's no shortage of demand. They say, wow. And so a lot of developers fight for land. So you can see these are the land bids in the past couple of years from November 2020 to 2022, right? The more recent ones, you can see there's still quite a lot of developer fighting for site, right? 5, 2, 3. I mean, the bigger sites, there'll be less, right? But a lot of sites, right, especially smaller sites, for example, these two, the Slim Barracks ones, these two are in One North, smaller sites, right? 200-300 million sites, right? You see that a lot of developer will go for it, right? Even the one here in Dairy Farm, 7 developers, right? Most developer like to go for the smaller site because small site affordable, ma. So what we're trying to say, developers still need to replenish their land bank, right? And as the developers continue to fight for site, okay, you can see that prices have moved up, right? This is OCR, right? Outside core region, right? And you see this is RCR, rest of central region, right? Prices have continued to move up. Okay, we'll talk about other reasons why the price move up. And as I mentioned, project launches have done well. So this year, I think major launches are more residences. This is in Ang Mo Kio, right, by UOL, 98% sold, right? Sky Eden at Bedok, this is really near Bedok Central, 75% sold. Lentor Modern, 84% sold. This is also in Ang Mo Kio, but Lentor side towards the nearer to Yio Chu Kang. So all these are projects that will launch in 2022, and all performed pretty well, right? I don't think there was a project in last year that so-called didn't do well. I think all projects did very well last year, right? And another thing that we want to show here, which is interesting, is that the amount of ABSD that people pay. So if you look at 2019 to 2021, right? Buyer stamp duty, everybody pay, right? This one is standard stamp duty. Whether you're Singaporean or foreigner, you have to pay buyer stamp duty. But look at the ABSD. People are still paying ABSD. Yeah. So government created in total 2 billion taxes, in terms of ABSD collected, right? So what we're trying to say is that next time these people, if they want to sell, they need to cumulatively sell $2 billion higher, right? If they want to profit or break even, I don't say profit, break even, right? Because they pay ABSD, so if they want to sell, they must factor in ABSD, right? So they need to additionally pay another 2 billion worth of into their factoring into the prices, right? So this is a so-called added value into the property price because of ABSD, right? So demand, why is demand so strong? Okay, so now we have come to the reason that supply has been controlled by the Singapore government for the reasons given, right? Why is demand so strong? Are there really so many people who can afford $1 million private condos in Singapore? Okay, so real estate has been quite popular, even in uncertain times. This is to show you something about like stock market price go up, go down. Okay, but real estate has been quite stable, right? And a lot of people, I think, in Singapore, where we work very hard in our jobs, and we spend a lot of time working. If not working, we are with our families, right? We don't have time to look at share market, especially if the share market can fluctuate too much. So a lot of people like to put a big chunk of money in real estate because it's stable, right? And we have also seen a trend in recent years where young HDB owners, right, exit from the HDB, sell the HDB upon MOP, upon meeting their 5-year minimum occupation period, and sell the HDB, and they make money, right? Typically, you buy BTO. BTO is the cheapest. If you want to buy in Singapore, the cheapest property you can buy in Singapore is always BTO. You buy the BTO, then 5-year MOP, you make money, right? And this money they then use to upgrade into condo or private property, right? So you can see here, right? This is the number in recent years, especially there have been a number of people who have been moving from HDB into condo, right? So upgrade the lifestyle from HDB to condo, right? Because they're HDB, they profit, right? The upgrading process, right? And this upgrading, as I mentioned, has also been enabled by a rise in HDB prices, right? This is the HDB price index, right? Again, similar to condo, right? HDB prices have also had a very, very sharp price run, right? And when they make money from HDB, they then sell to upgrade to condo, right? Lifestyle upgrade, right? And this is from Singapore government statistics, right? Average monthly household income is now $12,000. Average is now $12,000, right? And the number of households earning more than 20,000 has doubled in the last 10 years, and 30% of households earn more than 13,000 a month. Okay, 30% of households earn more than $13,000 a month. Okay, so there are a lot of people who have money, or at least are highly paid in Singapore, right? If you look at your household income and you feel that, hey, my average is below 12,000, because average is 12,000, then you are below average also. I mean, I hope that doesn't depress you. I hope your number is above 12,000, right? Then you show that you are above average in terms of household income, right? If you make more than $13,000 a month, means you are in the top 30% in Singapore, right? In terms of household income. So what does it mean? If you look at 13,000, or sorry, if you look at 12,000 as a benchmark and 20,000 as a benchmark, all right? What kind of properties they can own, right? So if you own $12,000 household income, right? You and your husband and your wife total earn 12,000 or more, or 12,000, or if you earn 20,000 or more, right? You can buy property up to 1.84 million or 3 over million, right? Based on 75% 30-year loan, right? So people today, so what we're trying to say, in general, a lot of people can afford up to 1.84 million property. That means their income statement, their salary the bank will allow to lend them money to buy property up to 1.84 million. And you realize that this is a sweet spot that a lot of developer go after. Today, if you try to buy new launch from developer, right, you will notice that 1-bedder, 2-bedder, and some 3-bedders, the smaller 3-bedders, are generally not more than 1.84 million, right? 1-bedder can be up 1 to 1.4 million, right? 2-bedder maybe 1.5 million up to 2 million, right? So you will see that a lot of this, I think 3-bedder below 2 million, no, I think it's a difficulty. But actually, so a lot of the 1-bedder, 2-bedder, right, is very comfortably below within 1.84 million. That's why you see in most projects, the 1-bedder and 2-bedder can sell out pretty fast, right? So that's what we're trying to say. So of course, there's also a changing mindset thing where a lot of people are now accepting of buying 1-bedder or 2-bedder, right? And even though sizes are smaller, today architects and have done a pretty good job where space in new condos are very, very well utilized. I mean, trust me when I say this. If you go to many new launch condo today, wow, the what to say, the space utilization is getting better and better, right? We squeeze out every living inch in your kitchen, in your bedroom to make sure that it's used. We don't waste space anymore, especially in newer condo. It's a good thing. I mean, given space staff Singapore, it's important that we fix problems by making sure that whatever space we have utilized better. So a lot of younger buyer, even though they see 1-bedroom small or 2-bedroom small, but actually the space utilization is more efficient, right, compared to bigger units, and so they can accept, right, whether for own stay, for rental, right, they can accept. So, and of course, condo provide condo lifestyle with facilities, and condo as a private property appreciation rate is better. Okay, so that's why you see a lot of young people, right, like these three slides here are trying to say that young people can afford to buy or willing to buy condo as well. So we see strong take-ups in all the 1-bedroom sizes. I think we're trying to say like in Seneca Residences recently in Tanah Merah, right, 1-bedder, 2-bedder fully sold. I think all project now we are seeing 1-bedder, 2-bedder fully sold at launch, right? And developer take their time to slowly sell the 3 and the 4-bedders. Okay. And the most recent cooling measure, right, which was in I think around September last year, right, to try and control, I think has not really had an impact on the market because that one is limits to a very small crowd of people. I have a video on that if you want to watch that later, right? And so where are we today, right? We are at the precipice of a new norm, or we are already in a new norm, right, of prices, right, where the launches, right, due to very low inventory, right, demand higher than supply, right? This is as of January, right? The total RCR in Singapore only got 605 units for sale from developer. OCR only left 441. So outer core region, which is basically the most outskirts of Singapore, right? There's no more 1-bedder to buy. No, if you want to buy a 1-bedder in outer core region, outer central region, right? No more. 2-bedder only left 36, right? And if you look at RCR, right, there is only 71. So RCR is the middle ring, right? Okay. So another thing that we need to take note is the inflation, right? Inflation that has pushed up land costs, right? Push up construction costs and financing costs. Let's go through this in one by one. So land costs, this one I think is quite straightforward. Developer fight for land, push up the land price, and you can see the land price have gone up quite a fair bit, right? That's why you see the land prices have gone up quite a fair bit. And then the next is construction costs, right? Construction costs have gone up, and I think you can see this is a tender price index, right? So you can see in 2020, 2022, you can see the index has moved up quite a fair bit, right, in terms of construction costs, right? I think everybody's aware of this. Inflation has pushed up construction costs. So this is some indexes for steel, cement, right? You can see that they have all generally trended up in the 2021, 2022 period. Okay, and financing costs, interest rates, right, have also gone up in Singapore, right? Interest rates in Singapore now have gone up quite a fair bit. I think, again, a lot of people are aware. So this affects a few things because developer typically take loan to buy land, right? So the pay higher interest costs, right, on the amount they borrow to buy the land. So this affects them as well, right? And for buyers who buy property, high interest rate means high installment. High installment per month means lower loan quantum, and that affects the price as well. Okay, so land price, we don't expect it to drop a lot because, again, although government is releasing more this year, but it's not that much, and I think a lot of developers run out of land already because they sold whatever stock that they have. Okay, so I think land price, we will expect it to be flattish with a slightly upward bias, right? Again, because developer got no more land and need to replenish their land, right? As a property developer, if you got no land, then you jialat, right? You got no product to sell. Okay, so if you look at all these sites coming up in 2023, right? A lot of them have what we call baseline prices, right? Unlikely they will sell cheaper because there's some neighbor price that has been won. Like, for example, like, okay, Lento Gardens, right? Neighbor won at 1130. So we don't expect it to go below 1130. Like, it will be thereabouts, right? Even if cheaper, also, I don't think it will drop below $100 cheaper than this, right? So I think the only one which is truly blank canvas is the Marina Bay one, right? Which, again, will not be cheap because it's Marina Bay, right? but everything else has some kind of benchmark. Of course, Woodlands also has one site, right? Also hasn't been bidded on, no Woodlands for over 10 years now. So this one also probably we will see there's no baseline, no clear baseline recently, right? But generally there's a lot of baseline for a lot of the sites nearby this year, right? And like in this case, right, we give an example of Lento, right? Because Lento got many sites this year for sale. Developer will fight to defend their sites. So far, GoCoLand have successfully defended all except one, right? So GoCoLand, Lento, Modern, this one, right? So Parcel A, Parcel B also is their gang, right? Hong Leong, GoCoLand, TID, their gang who buy, right? But only they lost one now, which is to this Fonseca, Forcia, and Soybil, right? Right, managed to snatch one away from GoCoLand, right? The rest also open for sale, so actually government trying to clear or fill up this Lento site quite soon, right? But GoCoLand will definitely I believe try to defend as much as they can within this area to prevent competition, right? So what we're trying to say is that there's a crystallization of the new norm, right? What they're trying to say here is that we are now at a new level, right? New level. We will not go back to before COVID price. That's what I'm trying to say. We are now at a new norm, a new normal. We will not go back to before COVID price. New construction costs, new land price, high demand, no stock by developer, still relatively limited supply, although a lot of supply injected into HDB, right? Private, the government increased actually, but didn't increase like a lot, right? They didn't double or triple the increase. They increased like pre-COVID increase. So we believe that this is going to be a new norm, right? That prices will not drop to pre-COVID prices, right? And you can see that, right? So this is the old norm, right? If you see my slide here, my mouse here, 2011 to 2018, this was a certain norm, right? Prices go up, but go down, but they're still in a certain range, right? Now we have moved up in 2022, 2023, we're at a new normal already. You will not drop back to this old price. I think that is for sure. If it does, there's a lot of blood on the street. Okay, a lot of blood on the street. Don't say buyer die, developer also die. Okay, so it's very unlikely it will drop back to the level pre-COVID, right? We are in a new normal here, right? And again, if you ask me, primarily pushed by land price, construction price, and interest rates. Okay. So yeah, a lot of owners now, of course, will be trying to defend this price as well, right? Okay. So yeah, I mean, I won't go into detail to do slides. So price support means is that what developers trying to say is that they slowly increase price from the launch, right? So normally now, if you what we're trying to say that a lot of developers, when they sell one bedder, two bedder, that is to save themselves first, right? By clearing all the one bedder and two bedder, right, a certain number, right, they have like so-called break even, right, and then the rest they can slowly sell for profit. So how much may I sell at the beginning for profit? At safety, to get to safety, right? I recover back the cost of my land, or I recover back some cost of construction. I got enough cash flow to finish the project, right? And then the rest over the next 1 year, 2 year, 3 year, they try to slowly sell off. That will be their profit, right? So this is where how the developer look at it, right? And another reason that a lot of people like to buy new launch also, that generally we never think about, is you buy new launch, you have progressive payment. You don't pay everything one shot, right? You pay as the project develops. So although interest rates are high now, because a typical project takes anywhere from 3, 4, 5 years to construct, okay? So you only pay interest, or you only pay a high interest for during this construction period only. Sorry, how do I say this? You only paying paying your installment based on the amount the bank released during the construction period because of progressive payment, right? The bank don't release everything one shot. The bank releases as the developer builds, right? And the hope is that in 2 to 3 years time, right? If you look at the previous history of high interest rates, right, which is here is from 2004, 2008, and we also have another period where from 16 to 2020, right? Interest rates, high interest rates or super normal interest rates will not last more than 2 to 3 years, right? So the hope is that during the 2 to 3 year period from now, you maybe pay a high interest rate, but by the time you get your keys at TOP, the rates would have gone down. Okay, that is the plan, right? And another thing, of course, is rentals are still pretty strong, right? I think again this has been reported in the newspapers, and I'm sure again you talk to your auntie in the market, or your your cousin, or your friends, or your taxi driver. Everybody knows that rental in Singapore has gone up quite a fair bit. So rents also help to support property prices, because if you get a good rental, property prices tend to be strong as well. Nobody wants to sell off cheap because you get good rental, right? And it will push many of the renters, right, foreigners, people with PR, right, to buy, right, because they don't want to pay high rent anymore, right? So Singapore is also what we call an artificially suppressed market. There's been a lot of cooling measures by the Singapore government. So again, if prices fall, if for whatever reason a crisis or some market thing happen and then prices go down, there's pressure, right? Singapore government actually got a lot of way to release cooling, pull back cooling measures, right? And that can, like, for example, no SSD, or can you imagine if no SSD, right? Or ABSD drop, right? That will help prop back up the Singapore market. So in that sense, the Singapore market is very controlled by Singapore government, and they will not let it climb too fast or drop too fast. I mean, in the ideal scenario, Singapore government want it to be relatively flat with a slight upward bias, right? But right, but there's a lot of measures, I think, a lot of tools the Singapore government can use to suppress or remove suppression on the Singapore property market. So we feel that it's very difficult for Singapore property market to drop too much, right? When you look at prices again, anything to 10 years ago, there's a big jump, in some cases double, right? You easily double, triple your money in this period, right? Based on a cash on cash consideration. So to summarize, point number 1, demand has been strong, right? Despite higher prices, land price, construction price, demand has been strong, developer outsell. Point number 2, despite and with high inflation and high interest rates, we're in a new normal. So don't look back at 10 years ago price, right? People like to, I always like to joke, right? People tell me 10 years ago our price like this, or 20 years ago price like this, or even before COVID, prices like this. Do you think that will change? Your kopi from $1 become $1.30. Do you think your kopi will go back to $1? Right? Realistically, I think that is not going to happen anymore, right? We are in a new benchmark now. And finally, some people, at least not covered in the slide so much, but despite in actually this year 2023, we do have quite a lot of incoming supply in terms of condo getting keys and TOP, but I don't think this will shift the status quo by much because of what I mentioned earlier, right? But it may moderate the gains. We may not see 8% price growth this year, right? It will drop, right? I think if anything below 5, I think we are also quite happy. Don't go negative. I very unlikely to go negative, right? I think anything below 5, I think is what I think is a healthy moderation of property prices in Singapore, right? 8% is too much, right? I think if we do 8% again this year, I think we can expect cooling measure, government come out cooling measure to stop it, right? So high incoming supply this year in 2023 will likely shift the gains a little bit. So that's it for today's presentation. I hope this presentation gave you some ideas on what's going on in Singapore property market today. If you find any part of my presentation was lacking or you have more questions, right, feel free to drop me a comment, send me an email. This is my phone number over here, my Singapore number, my Malaysian number. You're interested to buy, you have some questions about any property that you have in mind, you want to buy or sell, Singapore or Malaysia, do let me know. I'm quite familiar with markets, still active in both markets, and do subscribe to my YouTube channel if you're first time listening to me. If you enjoyed this content, like, share, subscribe my YouTube channel. We also have a TikTok where I do shorter 1-minute videos. My TikTok is mentioned in the description below, and also a website to join our mailing list for emails on all the content that we provide, which is free for you, and we try to add value to the users that follow to us for the property advice that we give here. Thank you very much, and see you guys soon. Bye-bye.